Okay, NXT. Now, let's make this clear. We got a lot of content here, and I'm not going to cover all of it. I'm actually going to leave some of these things blank because of Roadblock. Because Roadblock is where a lot of this is going to be more elaborated than it will be for right now. Because I'm going to leave several things out. But I'm going to say this. After what I just saw here, I am quite curious about multiple things. A lot more than what I would have. And I'm not going to have many people agree. And understand, I'm saying this now. I review NXT. I review SmackDown. I review Dynamite. I review TNA. I review. And I usually am very honest about things. And I'm being honest here. I've never been a huge fan of NXT. I like it. And I'm reviewing it. Due to the fact now that it's Shawn Michaels who's running it. Not Vince, not Triple H. It's Shawn. Yes, he's got to do what Triple H tells him or Ari or anybody else. But it's still generally Wrestling 101. Basic wrestling storylines that are being done here. Not as messy as it is in SmackDown or Raw right now. Particularly that we still don't know. Look, I saw Raw. And as interesting it was for certain things, it's still so sloppy and open-ended due to the fact that they're trying to please the fans so they can keep getting this. And as I told you, 100%, if Ari told Rock, told Triple H, and told a Nick Khan, I want this done where people give us this, they're going to do whatever it takes. And if Ari tells them, yes, I know he still has a board of directors to respond to, but Ari says, make this straight, like this, then even if they say it's not going to work that way, he says, do it, they're going to do it. You can see how messy it is on SmackDown and Raw right now. But NXT is a lot more focused. And it's a lot more interesting right now. I'm more interested in Stand and Deliver. Weirdly enough, I am more interested in Stand and Deliver than I am for WrestleMania due to the fact that The Rock is not right. We still don't understand what's going to go on with The Rock. A lot of people are still pissed off about what happened with Cody. A lot of people are still pissed off what's going on with Seth because he got treated like a bitch. Look, Seth still looks like a bitch. I'm not going to lie about it. Seth still looks like a bitch working with Drew McIntyre. He still looks like a bitch because of what happened at the press conference. Nothing looks good. And they're trying to work with the bloodline, which Rock should not be a part of, but is because originally he was supposed to work against Roman, but now backlash caused it not to. And I'm going to say this right now, as I said before, it didn't make a difference if Rock did WrestleMania or not. It was what Ari wanted. If Ari wanted The Rock, he's going to have The Rock. If Ari wanted Cody, he's going to have Cody. But here in NXT, it's what HBK wants. And he's a lot more focused, not worrying a huge amount about what's going on in the roster. Let's move on. Let's go to the first match. Kiana Jordan versus Kiana James. Kiana versus Kiana. It's a little confusing because you heard Vic Joseph saying Kiana and Kiana, and he was getting confused, and Booker T's back. If you didn't know, Booker T had surgery several weeks ago, almost a month ago. Don't know what the surgery was, and I'm not asking, please don't tell me. I don't want to know. I'm just glad that whatever the surgery was, he's okay, and he's back, and that's all that matters to me, personally. Good. Was this a good match? To be honest, it was okay, but what did it really give us? Yes, we had... Let me give it to you like this. When you see these three, who looks the most important? Kiana James, Kiana James, Kiani, or is it Izzy Dane? I'm getting something from Izzy Dane more than Kiana James and Kiani Jordan because she doesn't really have much to do yet. But you can see that it's not just about her larger size in all out of all three of them. She just seems to have some type of demeanor that is more dominant. Now, the only reason that Kiana James feels dominant now is because she's way more developed than either one of them. But when you see it, and I like Kiana James, I think when she goes to the main roster, she could do something with her character change. But between the three, Izzy Danes feels like when the time comes and she finally goes, she'll overlook them over. Well, you know what I mean. She's going to overdo them both. And Jordan just feels underdeveloped still. She has skill in the ring as more of a gymnast than a wrestler. And she has some personality. She's cute as hell. But she ain't there yet. She's still too green. Moving on. OC versus the current jobbers of NXT, Blade and Afonte. I always mispronounce it, but I don't know what it is about his name that I can never get it. I don't know why. It can't be because it's African. It's just I cannot get it. There's something about how to pronounce it. It doesn't register in my small brain. But they got destroyed. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised that OG destroyed them. They're there. I don't know how long they're going to be there, but they're there. And to be honest, I don't really like them. I don't really hate them. They're just... bleh. Moving on. Now, I know I can talk about the fight afterward. And when they talk, the OG talked to Breaker and Baron Corbin. I'm leaving it. I'm telling you now, just in case you think I forgot it. I'm leaving it, like I said in the beginning of this video. Let's go to Miss Jackson versus Roxanne Perez. Roxanne is still on this. This is pissing my ass off. I had my option, but then it's taken away from me by Lash Legend because I was in the damn shower. Well, everybody would like to see her in the shower. Let's be honest. Men and women want to see her in the shower. I mean, she's cute. She has a nice body. But saying that she lost the opportunity to try and go up against the champion because she was in the freaking shower and Lash Legend was ready, I mean, that's kind of reaching. I mean, it makes a little sense, but it's kind of reaching. And due to the fact she's saying this in the locker room and Miss Jackson caught her, this is what we got this match. And what did we really get here? I can only say this. Roxanne won, but what does this really give us with Roxanne Perez? To be honest, nothing. Roxanne should go to the main roster. She's actually overdue. Because seeing her have this attitude, yes, she's going to go up against Lara Valkyria, we'll talk about in a minute. But when it comes down to it, when she finishes with Lara Valkyria, she needs to just go to the main roster. She's ready. At least enough. Because there's nothing left for her to do. I'm actually feeling like she's just not only an afterthought, she's really just being wasted. I'm sorry, she's being wasted. Yes, the attitude is good, but she's being wasted. Let's move on. Dijak versus Crucifano. Lunia? No. Oh, I'm so bad with names. Why am I such a bad person with names? Crucifano. I'm going with that. He was the one that was in that video last week when it came to Dijak with Joe Gacy, who is basically like this. He's saying, and licking the glass with his tongue, or using his nose to make a hole. Come on. Let me give it to you like this. We've seen him before. The lawyer. We've seen that he spoke against Dijak, saying that this is not legal, this is not the law. And he says he's against my law. And he says it's not all about your law. And we get this match, which was the roughest match of the entire show. Guys, if Crucifano didn't interest you, he should have. Because this is the match that showed how aggressive and how good he can be in the ring. Dijak whooped his ass. And he looked good while getting his butt whooped. I'm impressed with Crucifano. And so was the family, because the Don made it very clear, go get him. And Stack said now. He says no later, but get him. So that means they're adding a new person to the family, which not a problem, because I'm surprised he didn't get added earlier. But since they weren't really pushing him and he wasn't really developed beforehand, because he has been on the show last year, like the beginning of last year. So I will say that now, at least, having done something with Dijak and Joe Gacy, it wasn't bad. And Joe Gacy getting basically out of his room, beating up on Dijak, and then as Ava, who I'll talk about, which I'm not satisfied with Ava, and this is Dijak with Ava, you got a guy coming in the camera, speaking, and it's basically Joe Gacy dropping the camera, beating the crap out of a Dijak. Okay. Let's see here. Here's where where they're going. This is one of the parts you can say that's not interesting. It's very confusing. It's like someone said to HBK, we need to do something, Ariana, where are we going with Ariana Grace? What about Gigi? What about Jada Parker? What are we doing, this women? And someone told him, let's put them all together. Let's smash them together. So this is what this match came to. Gigi Golan going up against Jada Parker due to the fact that Gigi wanted something to do by Stand and Deliver. So did Miss Parker of Mud. And they both, like this, in the office of Miss Ava, who I'll still talk about later, not yet, did not like the attitude between each other, so we get this match. And in between that time, Ariana Grace wants people to like each other because as a pageant queen, she wants world peace. So when the match went on, which was not too bad, I'm going to be honest here, when it comes to Jada Parker, she just really doesn't feel very developed. In the ring, she just doesn't. She's a big-ass woman. She's not small. Look, when it comes to scripts, I think it's like 5'6", 5'7". I could be wrong easily. He could be my height, 5'8". Miss Jackson's taller than he is. So she ain't a small-ass woman. Here is Mud. Here is Miss Parker. And here is Stax. They ain't small. And she ain't small. So she has the size. She just needs the skills. Let's make this clear. Miss Jada Parker can talk. She has character. She has charisma, but in the ring, she don't got it yet. And Gigi had to fill in a lot of the little bits to try and make it look okay. But then we get Ariana Grace coming out trying to make people stop fighting one another. She gets laid in by Gigi, and Gigi loses the match. And then Ariana Grace is screaming, let's get along. Let's come together. And I'm going like, really? Are they really? Look, I would understand Ariana Grace losing her mind because she keeps losing and keeps losing and keeps losing. If they went down that path and went from a beauty pageant winner and becoming Miss NXT and then descending into madness, kind of like Laura Van Ness of Impact Wrestling. I think that might be an actual interesting thing, seeing a beauty pageant winner lose her mind because she just can't wrap her head around wrestling and just starts going crazy and starts looking like a hag. Like Laura Van Ness did, Chelsea Green. But they're not. They're making us say, I want peace, world peace. Really? I can't say it's working for me personally right now, but maybe it will later. Okay, the Heritage Cup. I'm not going to go blow by blow, but I'm going to tell you this. Seeing that Charlie Dempsey was the one they chose is the one I was thinking. There was no one else that should go for that Heritage Cup. Now, I did not know he tried to get it 2 years ago when it was still in NXT UK. I didn't know. But Charlie felt like the right person for this. And the only person that should be his manager, he should not be with the I forgot what they call themselves, the quarter cut crew, I believe. Honestly, should be his dad. I would love to see Charlie and his dad working together and seeing his dad be his manager. I think that would be the best thing personally for me. And seeing that he wins that, he won the first round, he lost the second round, well, didn't lose the second round. He lost the third round, they tied in the second round, and then he won due to the fact that the crew had to save his butt from the win. It actually didn't sit well with me. I thought he could handle himself. I think he should have handled himself. and seeing that Nolan Dar, who is a heel, just got out-heeled by the crew and pretty much may turn face because of this? I'm hoping not. That don't settle with me either. I'm just saying. Okay. What should I say when it comes to Uber Fermi versus Brooks Jensen? Who? Fresh meat? Doing that for the prince, not the king, because he ain't my king. I only respect the chief. Cherokee. I rather care about a war chief than a prince or king. That is my way. But I will give Uber Femi his respect. I mean, I don't feel him yet because he's just being a big ass man whooping people's ass and doing with no disrespect, because that's basically biting off of what happened with Apollo Crews being a prince because he did that on the main roster. He's doing the same thing as Apollo Crews. I'm not feeling anything from Uber Fermi. I'm not. But I will respect that he's really trying his best to make it mean something when it's basically a bite off of Apollo Crews or Apollo. I don't even know where he is right now. He's probably sitting in the back where he's injured. I don't know. But there you go. Final. We get two things. Final two. First one, we got two segments in one. They were trying to shorten this. One, we're now having Tatum Paxley and You're telling me that you're going to do Lyra Valkyria. I was thinking that Lyra Valkyria is going to give Tatum Paxley a match against her. That would have been better. See how Tatum was going to act and maybe turn on Lyra instead of just being a horny woman. Or maybe she would not turn on her and just sprawl onto the floor and either act like you can have me or you can beat me. That's what I thought, because Tatum is acting like the crazy bitch. Like a crazy Mickey James who wants a little bit of that ass called Tiffany. Well, who doesn't want a... I'm going to tell you this. I wanted it too. I can't. I'm going to start saying something stupid. So I'm going to leave it at that. You know who I'm talking about. A little bit of stratisfaction. You know what I mean. I'm going to stop it there. And like I said, because I was thinking, like, I'm not a dirty old man, but I do try to think the scenarios out so I can at least have a good idea what I want to say to you. But let's make this clear. Stratus is something everybody wanted. Even now, in her 40s, she's still so well built. Everybody wants Stratus. And I'm trying not to think dirty when I'm thinking about Tiffany Paxton and Lyra Valkyria, but you could go there because Mickey James went there. And seeing it there actually would make sense in a match where instead of her wrestling and she's saying, I don't want to do it, but you're going to have to do it because I'm giving you the shot. And then she lays out on the mat and let either crawl. She's hoping she crawls all over her, but she just pins her. And she's fine with that either. Either way, she's fine. She's fine. Paxley is fine with it. That's what I wanted. But I had to say that. And then we get the surprise of the night where Rich Holland comes out. He wants to somewhat generally apologizes for it. But as he's explaining it, he gets laid out. We don't know who it is until the light is pulled away. The hood's gone. And it's not Ty Dillinger. Sean Spears. Mr. Sean Spears. Not Mr. Ty Dillinger. Mr. 10 is Sean Spears. And I gotta say, yes, I'm very happy about that. Instead of keeping with the old stuff, he's using what he's already developed from AEW and who he was known as on the Independents. If I remember correctly, he was known as Sean Spears in the Independents. That is what he's gone with, and he's now brought it to NXT. Do I believe they're going to treat him better on the main roster? No. Will he be treated better on NXT To a certain extent, yes, because I'm sure Shawn Michaels will appreciate him, but going onto the main roster with so much going on there, I don't even think if Shawn Spears goes to the main roster after a couple of months, he's going to be screwed. I'm being honest. He needs to stay on NXT and then after a certain amount of time become a trainer in the back, because he's never going to get anywhere in the main roster, not because Triple H is not going to care about him, but they got way too much going on, particularly with The Rock. Final. We get Melo and we get Dragunov. Melo coming out in the very beginning after Dragunov calls out Melo, warning him, because that's what set up last week. Melo with security made it very clear. Until you give me a contract with your name on it, we ain't going nowhere. And Dragunov beats up on a few security officers. Now, later Melo says, I'm still not coming out until there's a contract ready. So that's what we got at the end of the show. A contract. He comes out. Ava, who 100% does not feel like a general manager. I know you're going to say, dude, are you just doing that because she's a woman? No. AJ Lee, April, was one hell of a general manager. But she didn't just act a part. She looked a part. I'm sorry. No matter how much people want to say that Generation Z doesn't need to wear what people beforehand, in a sense, you need to at least wear something that gives you more of a perception of authority. It doesn't mean you have to wear a full suit like a man or a suit like a corporate woman, but you need to change up your style. She hasn't changed nothing. She's still wearing the same clothes she did when she was in Schism. And that's what you're not going to understand. If she's still dressed like she did in Schism, what is she doing differently? Nothing. It's not about how she delivers her lines or how she's acting like a general manager. It takes more than that. She needs to give the perception. Remember, perception is reality. Sometimes I try to explain it, but you don't understand everybody. But perception is reality. If I look like a bum, but I'm a rich man, you're not going to take me seriously if I'm in a corporate environment. If I look like I'm wearing nasty, torn up clothes and I smell, but I'm a rich man, are you going to take me seriously? You think I'm a nut? Here, Ava is still dressed like she did in Schism. And the problem is she needs to change her ring attire from looking like she was in Schism. And she's not doing it. I don't care if she looked like April, AJ Lee, in a suit, or at least some other type of style that gives her a feel of authority. There is no authority feeling. Is she delivering a lines correctly? Of course she is. Does she have a type of presence? No. And I think due to the fact she has not changed her style of clothes is not helping. She doesn't barely have any feeling of an authority figure. She looks like a little girl doing an errand for either Triple H, if he was in that position, or HBK. And HBK, you can say a lot about him, but it's not about him looking like he's an executive. He's a guy wearing basically a cowboy hat, hiding his hair, and he likes being dressed like that, walking ball-legged. I mean, that's how he is. But he does feel like a authority. And Ava does not. Ava just feels like Ava from Schism. Not Ava, the general manager who's got the position because of her dad. I'm sorry. That's the way it looks. If HBK said, I'm going to make Ava a general manager. This is before Rock. Let's say he did make it that he felt that she could become a general manager because maybe she can't wrestle right now because she has some type of injury. Or she's still not trained well enough to be in the ring, because the last time I saw her in the ring, she looked terrible. But just in case she is capable of wrestling, but he feels that she could become a really good general manager, she does not look the part, she does not give the presence, and her delivery lines as Ava is no different than Ava of Schism, and she needs to work on her stick, and worse, she needs to change her ring attire, not to be someone corporate, but just to feel like someone with authority, to be more dressed like someone who could really tell you, go, stay, you're fired, something. As she is now, She's just, eh. And when we get to the match, well, not match, but the now stand and deliver setup, she just sits there. And it just felt blank. And I mean, when it came to Mello was okay. Dragunov was alright. But once the Don came out, it became a lot more interesting that he took her seat. And that shows you that she felt like a extra character. She doesn't feel like a general manager. She doesn't. She didn't feel like it. She didn't feel like, even if she had been there, she just felt like an errand girl. And she shouldn't. And I don't want her to feel like that. But when it came to Tony, he made it very clear, this piece of trash here only knows how to be able to do nothing but complain for the last year, wanting to get his damn title back. Me, and he told Dragunov, I'm being respectful here. I don't like you all the way, but I respect you. I'm going to earn it. I want a match against him at Roadblock. Give it to me. And then I'll take you on and I will beat you. And he said, okay, I like that. And that's Dragunov. He's saying, I respect that. I like that. At least you're trying to earn it. And already the Don had made an agreement with Ava to basically let the match happen. If this match happens at Roadblock, it will work. She's already got the thing drawn up that if the match happens, the only thing that's needed is Mello's signature to make the match a Roadblock so it can be at Stand and Deliver. And Mello tried to get out of it and he couldn't, because when it came down to it was Dragunov's decision. Because he tried to complain earlier about saying Dragunov's nothing but a bitch. And supposedly, instead of Dragunov coming around to attack Mello or confront him, it's Tony who comes around. And once a fight was about to happen, Dragunov tried to stop Tony, and Tony nailed him in the nose by accident. It looked like he did. And then that's when Mello puts a Tony D through a table. I will tell you this. Am I interested now? Yes. I'm more interested than I was before about Stand and Deliver. I am very surprised about this, and I'm wondering where they're going to go with this. Because, understand this, I still believe Mello is ready for the main roster. But before he goes, there's one last thing he needs to do, and that's to deal with Trick Williams. He's got to face him in a match. He must face Trick in a match, because if he doesn't, it's not going to put over Trick. Trick needs to be put over, as I told you more than a year to a year and a half ago. And if anybody remembers, I said Trick feels like he's ready to go off on his own. He needs to develop his own identity because, well, I take that back. I'm reversing it. Mello at the time, when he was champ, he was ready. I'm sorry I said Trick. It was Mello. But Trick was not ready. And I kept saying Trick needs to be on his own so we can see if he can develop himself. And since then, he has developed himself exactly as I thought he would. And now, the final step for Stand and Deliver, because I do believe Tony D is going to win that match, it's going to be Mello going up against Trick Williams at Stand and Deliver. The last thing supposedly needed to put Trick Williams over and to push Carmelo out of NXT to go to the main roster, because by that time, it'll be WrestleMania. And by the time WrestleMania is done and over and they move on from that, Carmelo Hayes can go to the main roster. It won't hurt Trick, because Trick will finally get the moment he deserves. In fact, you can have Carmelo Hayes end up on WrestleMania in the back, and you could set that up for either he goes to SmackDown or Raw. Nothing wrong with it. Carmelo Hayes can end up at the kickoff show or the main show of WrestleMania, and they could be setting him up to be signed to either Adam Pearce or Nick Aldis. Peace.